So the first thing I kind of always try to explain when it comes to like what is the internet is the difference, basically like what is search engine optimization or SEO. I should also say if anyone has questions or wants this is like this is boring but I have a deeper question, I'm super open to having a conversation because like I said I just kind of did a broad overview. So search engine optimization is basically how the internet figures out who you are and what you do. I always describe it as like, if you want to know how people are finding you, think about like, for example, McKinley Park Development Council, I'll give an example because I did their website, we did a lot of SEO conversations around that. Is like, if I'm just a random neighbor in McKinley Park and I want to figure out, is there a neighborhood group? What would I type into Google? I might search McKinley Park. I might search community, organizing, nonprofit. I mean, there are a couple of different things. And you want to make sure that those things are appearing. You know, in your website and if you have a social media profile, any description of your social media profile. So that's like kind of the basics of what SEO is. The thing to know that's most important when applying to like small businesses or small nonprofits is that the subcategories under that in kind of the evolving Google world is local search and social search. So local search is like, I am a very specific person in a very specific spot, and I want to find a cafe. How do I search in my phone to find a cafe? A really good example of this is often businesses or nonprofits don't necessarily have a Google business account. That means like when I open the Google app, you know, just like like the Google Maps, if I search cafe, probably Cadinho will show up, and I'm not as familiar on this side. I know things have changed over here a little bit lately, so I'm not as familiar, but you know, like they'll show up. How you get that is very simple. You create a Google business profile. It's free. There are scams that say they'll do it for you. You don't need that. It's literally you search Google business profile, fill out your information, but that's one way to say, it'll ask for a description. So you want to say neighborhood, cafe, free Wi-Fi in McKinley Park or something. You know, like whatever those search engine terms are, that creates the local search. You want to keep updated hours, a link to a website or a social media page, whatever you have. That's because Google prioritizes local, any search engine, I'm gonna use Google kind of universally, prioritizes accurate information and hyperlocal information. Before I move on, any questions?
I reported it. One of my tenants, they put their coffee business as like my house, and it still showed up even after they moved out. So I had to report it, and then they took it off.
Yeah.
So kind of to your point about the accuracy.
Right, exactly. And I mean, for good or for bad, I do think like Google makes it somewhat easy to kind of navigate that system. But if you don't even know, I think sometimes a lot of people have the question of like, well, there's like a random profile for my thing. How did that even happen? It's because people have been searching for it. And so Google kind of like created a thing through AI, but you can take ownership of it and then add it accurate information. So, and it's, fairly easy to do, but you kind of just have to know to do it.
Can you say more about how to take ownership of an account if you find that that's happened? And the specific case I'm thinking of, we had a minor fiasco last year where a lot of neighbors were very concerned that there was going to be a funeral home on our block. and that, right, there is no funeral home. But they came around with a petition because Google said there was gonna be a funeral home, and that happened because the funeral director's mailing address was her home, but that is not her place of business, and so it got scraped. So things like that can happen, and I think it would be good to talk a little more about how to correct it.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, I'm able to connect to my. Actually, can I connect to the Wi-Fi here? Is there like a password? Yeah, just because it's my hotspot's going really slow, so.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this instead.
It's gonna give you the ED password,
Yeah, it's, yeah, like up
the
here.
admin password.
Yeah, I got the hookup.
It's,
Well, while that's going on, do people have any more questions?
It seems like a good project I'm thinking about like our own office, like a good project for interns to work on, is like helping maybe some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that they can do, right, they don't need much, guidance from them.
Yeah, so,
so just Google it.
right. Yeah, while we're kind of waiting on this, I can talk a little bit about, like, the concept of social search and then come back. Oh, wait, never mind. So, yeah, this is the Google business page. Basically, you create a profile. I personally don't even have a profile because I don't have a Google app, like a physical location. But yeah, basically it prompts you to go through the process. And what you do is you claim, there's a way to like claim the account. And then you have to like verify that you are the owner, usually just through like them calling you at the listed phone, you know, that kind of thing. It's kind of very particular to each person, so if anyone has like more questions, I'm happy to answer them individually. It's a little bit hard to describe.
Once you set it up, does that then allow people to like review your business and say?
Yes,
"Oh, this is
exactly.
great," or
Yes.
this isn't, you know, a coffee shop at someone's house.
Right, and it allows you also to, it also allows you to respond to bad reviews. I don't know, does the McKinley Park Council have a,
Bad reviews.
no, or any
Well, I know,
reviews?
we
Google,
We
do you
don't
guys
have,
a
we don't
Google?
have a physical address,
Okay.
so we have not set
Okay,
this up.
let's just,
So Cadino,
yeah, I'll search
Recently
Cadino.
they recently
Okay,
opened-
look, so this is them. I only use them because I know they actually do have a pretty good Google sign up.
What are they,
But-
4.1?
Huh?
How many stars they have?
4.8. But you'll see, like, because they have, it tells, you know, Google can track popular times, and that's often based on, like, how people are searching to find them. It has their hours, it has directions, website, you know, all those things. But yeah, like, it gives you the power to, it's kind of like the old blue check in Twitter. Like, it's a way to say, like, this is the real business, so people know they're getting accurate information. And then it also, yeah, you can respond, like if someone leaves a bad review, you can't change it, but you can say, I went back in my records and there's never been a Mary Hall customer, so I don't know what this person's doing, or, you know, whatever, however you say that nicely.
would you say this could take the place of creating your own website? It's just like to focus on the Google.
I don't think it takes the place of a website. I would say a website or social media page. That's a strong social media page, which we're about to get into. But I do think it's a very important thing. It's very important to have both. So, kind of moving on to social search, this is kind of an emerging trend, idea, topic, which is that Gen Z and below, like 90% of their searching, they don't go to Google, they search social media sites. If they're wanting to find a business, they'll look them up on TikTok or they'll look them up on Instagram. what that means is, it is important to have, if that's your demographic, it's important to have at least one strong site. We're gonna go a little bit more later into like how you figure that out, but you know, for a bank, your demographic isn't that probably, you know, it's someone who's looking on a computer, so like a website's more important. If you're a commerce business where you're trying to sell products, a website's more important. Maybe if you're an internet cafe who's trying to get younger people in the door, an Instagram is more important to invest in. So yeah, those are just some kind of ways to like think about. But yeah, I would say having like a Google profile is as important as having either one social media site or a website. Any questions or thoughts? I know we kind of had a discussion. Any thoughts about that?
If someone came to you and said, I'd like to set up a website, what's the process? Do you have an intake process, like, let's meet at your?
Yeah, I usually hold kind of a consultation meeting. I like to talk through not just the website, but like what are your digital goals in general? Because that, a lot of times people say like, I want a website, but like, that can mean so many different things. Often it's kind of a longer, more in-depth version of this, is like, what are your overall goals? Do you know who you're trying to reach? If not, how do we figure that out? Specifically with websites, it's a, you know, like, I can give an example with MPBC. We had several conversations about like what their goals were. At the time, 2 years ago when I built the website, the goal was to, one of the main goals was to get grant funding. That was before kind of the 35th Street application process, and we were still in the Riverfront grant process. And so in addition to helping people know who MPDC is, it was also like, how can grant funders look at this website and say, oh, this is an organization that like we want to give money to. I'm actually in the process of reconfiguring the website a little bit, because 2 years later, now you have the funding, and now the focus is like, how do we get resources to small businesses? So that's why like it's often really important to know like what are your goals, because that can completely inform yeah, like what you want to focus on. Because I think like often people just, you know, smaller organizations don't have the money to do everything. So like how can we focus in on what's really important for achieving those goals?
I think that specifically can translate to an investment group or a bank, right? People search, and is this JP Morgan, right? Or is this a legit investment group?
Yeah.
I want to give money to our bank.
Mhm.
I want to give money to.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Okay, so that kind of also leads into kind of a next subtopic that I often actually bring up in any kind of consultation, which is like, do you have a brand kit? That's kind of an industry term, but it basically means like, do you have a logo? Do you have set colors that you always use? And do you have your fonts? This is basically just important for visual identity, but a lot of people don't realize like there is a hex code for color. So it's not just like light yellow, it's like 7321. Well, it's like a specific number. That's like a tiny, each little minuscule on the spectrum has its own color. That's often something that I do a lot of, is just like, let's standardize this. And why that's important is because like, you can get into a site like Canva, if you're familiar with that, or any kind of like social media production site, and like you set your brand with your fonts and your colors, and then like anyone can make something and it will always look the same. yeah, I don't know if anyone has questions about
Can you
that.
explain Canva? That's a great free tool.
Sure, yeah, Canva's awesome. It is a design platform. It was created actually by journalists, so they have a very like civic-minded philosophy. But they also like have a how do we create really beautiful things super fast. So you could search.
A free Photoshop.
Yeah, free Photoshop. You could search Instagram post, for example. Oh wait, let me not be in mine. You could search Instagram post cafe. There's hundreds, if not more, of possible posts that are free to use, free to edit. It's a very user-friendly platform. And what's really cool is that if you have a brand, so let me see. Actually, let me just open a project. Okay. This is actually a brand guideline I did for a nonprofit journalism organization, but for example, these colors and everything are, and their fonts are all set. And so when I go to edit this, right here, it tells me what are the preset colors in the Change Agents brands kit. So I never have to look them up. I just know this is the specific color of blue we use for everything. You can hand it off to an intern and say this is the fonts and the brand and the color we use, or an employee or whoever. Anything else specifically, Kate? Yeah, Canva's awesome. Like really awesome. Okay, cool. So now we have come to the interactive part of the, yeah. Basically, I want to go through the process of making what's called a user persona. This like came out of like the software design world, but it's actually a super helpful exercise for really any organization trying to figure out like who uses us, who's our client, who are we trying to serve. It helps, it's basically creating a profile of your ideal client, but getting very, very specific. So, you know, what is their name? What is their age? What is their need? What time of day do they use our product? How do they even come into contact with me in the wild world? So it kind of helps bridge the gap between like the abstract idea of who you're serving and getting really, really specific. It also helps building for the wrong audience. It helps you know which social media site you should be on, if you need a website at all. And basically, when you create it, the persona should reflect real life situations, constraints, and triggers that influence their behavior. I thought we could work on creating a user persona together if one of these small businesses or organizations here wants to like be the guinea pig. Okay.
Is it? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Okay. This is where a big screen would be helpful. But we'll make it work. Okay. So, this is kind of what one looks like. This is a template that was already built. that we're gonna use and adapt to, remind me the name of your organization?
At Growth.
At Growth, okay, so. To start. Sorry. I'm gonna type. So why don't you give kind of a description of, at least kind of top level, who you think your client is?
Definitely people that are in transition. So if it's college, careers, business, entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So my slogan is a place for growth. So that's kind of.
Okay. And the goal with this, where did it go? Sorry, did I X out of it already?
Is it Figma?
Yeah.
Figma.
Oh, you're right, I put it over here. I'm not gonna do that. So you'll see, like, as we're looking at this thing, this is how it's set up is it's a bio of one very specific person. This is Chelsea, or Cameron, she's 27, she has a master's in business. And how you kind of get to those details is we're just gonna ask a series of questions, trying to get more and more specific until we can kind of create this like ideal person that when you're, moving forward, you can say, what would Cameron think of X? Okay. So, when do you think you're a person, I mean, you kind of already answered that, but when and where does someone interact or come into contact with at Growth?
They're at different stages of their life.
Okay, so let's choose one.
College. They're trying to go to college.
Okay. They're trying to go to college. So how do they find out about you?
I was a college and career coach at Kelly, so a lot of them say, hey, go and talk about 100. I used to work at Chicago Public Schools, so that's my prior work kind of inspired the work that I do now.
So currently, it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
As of last week, I just did it.
Okay.
It's a new word of mouth.
Well, that's fine. And why would they come to you?
Build a really trustworthy, safe space. I'm really reliable, resourceful. I was undocumented, so I think that is also one of the big comfort levels that people kind of rely on anti-scam.
So this like theoretical high school to college student, they might be someone whose parents didn't go to college.
First generation.
Okay. First generation immigrant or first generation college student or all of the above?
All of the above at this point, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think are kind of the emotions driving that? Like driving
That or-
where they are. They're
Confusion, not supportive. They don't have a supportive space. Parents are not supportive at all. Money, financial troubles. Space of just help me. I need to figure this out.
And what do you think drives them to want to go to college versus finding a job or, maybe some of the other options available to them?
Honestly, some of the narratives are wrong in schools, unfortunately. They also push for the 4 years, and unfortunately, some kids are not ready for the 4 year, or they just are not interested in, that they don't know the different pathways into having a successful career or just a job in general.
So these kids might be getting one pressure from the school saying
Yeah.
you need to go to college, one pressure from parents saying we don't have the money for that. They're first generation trying to navigate
The job market.
the
right
job
now.
market, the
Yeah.
world, and so that's where you come in. Yeah, that's like a great place to start. I mean, we've hit a lot of things, cause I think often the next step is to say like, what else is this user trying to achieve? Like take yourself out of the situation, like, what are they doing in the world?
I think for At Growth, my biggest goal is for community impact. So, kind of scaling that to organizations and individuals themselves. Like, where do you want to see yourself moving forward, and how can we get you there?
So,
So it's more like an internal, how do you say this? Like a life journey type of situation, navigating life, if you want to call it.
So like, what are those things that they're navigating outside of deciding whether or not to go to school? What are other things that they're
So
navigating?
child care, GED, they dropped out really early, so now they're getting their GED. Housing insecurity, so that's a big one too. Substance abuse, I think kind of just access to resources overall. I think this is why we're very close community, tight knit kind of organization. DPNC has a lot of those resources. They just need someone to talk to be like, hey, go see, Maribel, to encourage them to go. And a lot of us need that like accountability person. So I feel like that's one of the things that we push for people, like, hey, you gotta go here.
Okay, so getting, yeah, like, so this is great. It's awesome that you have such a great ability to like, you're very aware of like the emotional, mental narrative
Yeah.
that the person, this specific person is like in the world with when they encounter you. So like the next step is to get like super specific with building this persona. So, is there a name you wanna give just right off the bat?
Oh yeah, I have my handy dandy,
Mhm.
what do we call it?
We can just name, I mean, not that it's naming someone, but.
His name is Rosie.
Growth.
Yeah, GRO.
Okay.
Yep.
We are gonna use a human name, because the idea is to think of a human in this.
Well, he's my, like, the human AI part of At Growth.
Yeah, well, so just for this,
Exercise.
we're kind of trying to create an image of a specific person.
Oh, myself,
Who
Alejandra.
is your fictional student?
Yeah. who is a
Oh, the
fictional
person
student?
who I'm.
Yeah,
the student.
we are creating a profile of the client.
Okay, so Adan, A-D-A-N.
ADAN, perfect. And specifically focusing on this like new student, like how old are they?
16.
Okay, 16. What is their level of education?
Senior in high school.
What's their personality like? Are they,
Very quiet, very timid.
okay,
Don't talk to you unless he has to.
okay. How tech savvy are they?
Pretty tech savvy.
Okay.
Facebook, TikTok, he got it locked down, just not the most
Yeah.
social.
So a lot of engagement is on social media. So.
Yeah. I guess the personality of a gamer, right? Like,
Okay. And are they accessing the internet on their computer, on
Mostly
their phone?
phone.
Is it their own phone? Are they using like a school given phone?
no, their own phone.
Their own phone, okay.
Schools get phones?
or like tablets or whatever. Okay. So why that's important, so we've kind of created this profile of Adon, who's 16, likely a first generation immigrant, would be a first generation college student if that's the path he chooses, not super outgoing face to face, but very engaged online. So if we're thinking, just making something up, are we gonna create a website? Are we gonna focus our energy on one social media site, 2 social media sites? Based on who this person is, where do you think you should be putting your energy?
Probably just social media since he's more active.
Right. And like like what sites?
Discord.
Discord is great. Yeah, that's a great thought.
Slack is another one, but he leans more into Discord.
Yeah. Well, and I think Discord's a great option specifically for your organization because it's a place where you can create community. You can create a community that people feel safe in. And it's a platform that already exists to do that.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to just like fit in to what's already happening.
How's Discord related to Kick?
Kick.
KIT?
K-I-C-K.
Oh, okay.
Is that like
Or is it different?
is that a gaming platform? I'm not familiar with that one.
Streaming.
Oh.
Streaming. You mean like Twitch?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Is
maybe
that
one of the
everything?
young people here could explain better. No, so Discord's like it's like Slack, but for anyone. Like, are you familiar with Slack? Or like, yeah.
Chat or.
Yeah, something like that, but it's like,
But is it around like a person or like a subject or what is it?
I mean, it depends. Like, yeah, like a lot of people on Twitch have, like, for their Patreon users, they have like a community on Discord that people can like
It's
get
like
into.
separate, right? It's separate.
Right, yeah.
Like insider stuff kind of?
Yeah, or like I play D&D every week, we play on Discord because our people are all over the country, so like we have a Discord channel that's like ours and we play, it allows you to like video call through it, but you can also chat, or there's different like channels and stuff.
For playing video games?
Yeah, but I mean we specifically do D&D, but
Discord is more coding friendly than Slack. Slack you have all these other integrations with it, but Discord is mostly used in the like gamer or like software developer kind of world.
But yeah, so this is an example of why creating this like user persona can be super helpful, because you might be thinking, oh, maybe I need to be on every social media site, maybe I need a website. And it's like maybe you need a website for grant funders if you're gonna get that, but for your actual clients, it's way more important to invest time in Discord.
Like there's also like Substack, which I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of writing people who do Substacks now, who are more driven to just writing and reading. So that's more.
But yeah, there's
catered.
endless platforms, but realistically, because I always try to approach these conversations from a sustainability standpoint. You have yourself, maybe you have a couple other people, but you cannot be everywhere. You can do 1 to 2 things on the internet really well. So what are those things? Yeah, any questions or thoughts?
What do you think about Instagram or TikTok for this user?
Yeah, I mean, I think like either a TikTok or an Instagram. I mean, those are very compatible social media sites. So like a conversation could be, maybe you really focus on making videos for TikTok and then you share them to Instagram. There's ways, like there are platforms where you can just share it to Instagram, share it to Facebook, to YouTube, but really your priority is making content for TikTok. So you're not making 4 different videos, you're making one specific
I mean, if we're
video.
talking about the example, I guess because Adon is very shy, he's not gonna make TikToks, right? He's gonna make
No.
the silent TikTok.
But are you gonna make TikToks to find him?
For him to, do you think he watches TikTok?
Or like for me to make content for him. That's
So he
it.
can find you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the question that comes up is like, do you think, I'd love the interns to chime in.
Yeah.
You're closer in age than I am. What do you think of this user person and where like in the internet would they be found? I asked the question specifically because you're trying to get to like, if Adon is just in the world and I know he needs my services, but he doesn't know who I am, where is the place he's gonna be that will intersect with my content? How is he gonna come across me naturally?
Collaboration with celebrities or something like that.
I guess the question would be, where do you guys get your content from?
Where do you go?
Where do you go?
I usually go on TikTok.
TikTok?
And Instagram. Yeah, social medias.
Is there a specific one?
Yeah, Instagram.
If you're trying to find like,
Kick.
specifically thinking about like trying to, any like community organization, so something similar to what she's doing, like, is there a local community organization that you found kind of organically through TikTok or Instagram?
Like, how did you guys find out about the
Probably rapid
internship?
response stuff,
I'm sorry.
rapid response stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a good example.
I would say when I was young, I found the Gage Park Latinx Council. I found them on Instagram. That was when I was younger. But I did find boards through Instagram and stuff. Like people would share flyers and they were having events targeted to teens.
Did you
Yeah.
guys find out about the internship through Instagram, or how did you guys find about the internship with Response?
So we found it on Facebook.
Okay.
So this one of the organization posted on Facebook, so we just, yeah, found it on Facebook and we just copied the organization.
And you found it on Facebook?
It's a separate organization.
And you scroll, you're scrolling.
Gotcha.
That's a graphic
So,
Facebook.
Oh, they do, okay.
So it sounds like there was an organization that you already followed that kind of connected you, put it on their radar, and then you found it that way. Yeah. I mean, these are kind of the that's why this can be really useful, just to have these conversations and think because this is a very specific person who's finding you a very specific way. And then since your organization serves kind of a couple different types of people,
Generational.
you could do
Yeah.
this process again for someone in their 30s trying to start a new business, or maybe I'm your next persona, or whatever it is. But the usefulness is in getting so specific, because that's how you think about, what are the organizations I should be partnering with? How can I focus? Maybe Discord is where I put my attention in. Yeah.
Can you say a little more about translating your online content into the real world? Because there's some good opportunities there too.
Say more about what
Well,
you're.
like, so thinking about, so one of the things that we do a lot is, like, we make a piece of content, like, we have an event next week and we made a flyer, right? And it's all over the internet, and we use, there's a tool that Meta has, so you can post to Instagram and Facebook at the same time, which covers most of our demographics. But also, we have a lot of people who barely use the internet at all, or only access it on their phones, or work weird hours, or whatever it is. And so we wanna reach them too, so then we can print that flyer, right, and put it in trusted locations or with strategic individuals, where we know that our folks go, and make sure we see it. So like, you've already done the work, right? Making the content is the work, then you have to put it where your person is. So like, how does that look like for this kind of business?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a great point. I can give a good example that comes to mind that's not specific to this user, but so I used to work for WBZ, and we did like an over a year long investigation that I was a part of, looking at high rates of basically water debt. People who had debt on their water bills, and the way that the city worked, it just kept compounding creating like insane amounts of debt for like a public utility. The majority of the people, we got records that showed where debt was concentrated in zip codes across Chicago. There was like 90,000 people who had like astronomical. So like huge group of people trying to reach, but these neighborhoods were concentrated in places where people were seniors, low income, did not have access to the internet, possibly did not have like more than just like your straight phone. So like how do you reach those people? So what we did, basically we took we created kind of an online sheet of like, you know, we were trying to get people to like share their own experiences, but then we did a ton of canvassing, but we kind of went through this process of like, how do you find those people? We went to libraries in those specific zip codes. The reporter like hung out outside of the water debt court, like where those cases are held. And then we also ended up sending postcards in the mail, like mass mailing to like the top 10 zip codes. Because we also followed up with like, how do you fight debt or get debt relief? But like this kind of process this kind of process is helpful because it can say like, oh, like actually it's important to have stuff on the internet, but like that might not be where we need to put our money. Maybe the most important thing is mailing stuff out. Maybe the most important thing is getting other community organizations to like share our resources if they have a big audience in, you know, like whatever our demographic is. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question very well, Kate.
So for Don, where are some places where like he might find your stuff in the real world? Like, would you leave it with
At a
a
gaming
guidance
convention?
counselor at BPNC,
Yeah.
or the Boys and Girls Club, you know?
I mean, yeah, like if there's a if there's a game store or like a board game store, I mean, you have to think through like what, or maybe it's the schools. Maybe it's specifically partnering with the schools so you're getting that kid before he even leaves the building, because that's like the consistent physical place where you know he's gonna be.
Chance to matter versus when it hurts.
So the question I have about that is, you know, you're providing a service that is already provided for free at the school. How do you make the argument that, you know, you have added value that is worth paying for?
I love that
It's your
question.
business, right?
Yeah. So that AdGrowth is an ecosystem, so that's the free branch of AdGrowth. So on my AdGrowth is towards the businesses. So because I work like Chicago Public Schools, I used to work for Salesforce. So the side of the revenue question is based on my AI experience. And so I hope that makes the differentiation. So the AI would fund these conversations with students, with entrepreneurs.
This might seem like a foolish question. How do you do that? What is that? How is AI funding anything? Am I missing something?
You're
Like in
selling-
general, or just mine specifically?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I mean, AI could be through consulting through her. Like for example, she does websites, right? So things like that, collaborations, partnerships, TikTok as well. You could do the collaborations with another rather influencer or brand. There's different possibilities. I think that just depends on your brand.
So AI isn't paying you, you're using AI.
Correct.
So- Okay, I
Yes.
understand. Thank you.
I think this user profile piece is impressive. I would expect someone to come to you and say, I want a website, and you make them a website, but taking the added step of going through this process, I think would provide a business owner or anybody really with the holistic, like.
Right. Because yeah,
guidance.
I'm a big believer, like, you shouldn't just make things to make things. Like, do one or two or three things really well. Gets you so much further. And it's like, you have to think long term. Like, yes, maybe you get excited now, but are you gonna have the capacity in a year to keep up things in 5 places, I'm telling you, you won't. I don't. I do this for a living and I don't. So like, yeah, just like being really strategic, I think is, yeah, kind of, that's the thing I preach.
If, someone wanted to do this thing with you, what's the best way to? Get a hold of you or reach out or get?
Yeah, you can reach out, my email. I may have cards.
You have cards you can share with folks.
But yeah, my email is mhalljournalist@gmail.com.
Do you have an Instagram or website?
I do have a website. It's mhalljournalist.com.